Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and I love introducing you to special friends of mine, people I have learned from, past guests of the Roundtable Talk Show. And today's guest is someone, usually when I start speaking, people start taking notes. When this gentleman started speaking, I started taking notes. I learned so much from him. So I want to go ahead and introduce you to Mr. Josh Eberly. He's going to talk about digital marketing as well as real estate. Good afternoon, Josh. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me back on the show. I really enjoyed the roundtable the other day, and I'm looking forward to this interview.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Speaking of the Roundtable Talk Show, this is something that you didn't know, you don't know, at least at the time, but you were talking on the show about Facebook having their account managers. And every show, I'm shooting off my mouth. I'm talking about, Facebook doesn't help. Facebook doesn't have contact customer support. And no wonder you kind of look so confused. You're like, wait a minute, they do have support. I didn't know. But again, this is one of the reasons why I love my shows. I love the Roundtable Talk Show. I love Ask Sharifah Videocast because I get an opportunity, and it's such a privilege to be able to sit down and talk to the people that know. And you are definitely one of the people that know. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, Josh.
Sure. Yeah. So I am currently I'm the COO of a mid-size, I would call it agency out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're called Conklin Media. And we have about 60 clients right now. We focus on business growth. For those clients, we're really focusing on how can we grow your business. And a lot of these companies are anywhere from the probably like $5 million to $50 million range. We do work with people who are startups. We work with very established companies as well. But the main thread there is we're looking for growth. So people come to us normally and say, hey, Josh, how do I get from point A to point B? Or how do I kind of get to that next level of business? And that's what we really specialize in. Other than that, I've kind of been, as you probably saw in my bio, an entrepreneur for, since I got out of college, 5-6 years ago. I am excited about a new program. I'm sure I'll talk more about today on the show today, but I'm launching a new company here. Recently, it's focused more on real estate and services towards real estate investors specifically. That's something I've been doing on the side and, with my friends over the last couple of years here, but I'm sure we'll get more into that later.
No, we can get more into it right now, whatever it is that you like to discuss, because I'm curious that this is a focus of yours right now. I've had people who say this is a horrible, 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 horrible time to buy. Then I've had people who say absolutely not. This is the best time to buy because you can get real estate for pennies on the dollar. They don't know whether to buy residential, whether to buy commercial. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I always say it's always a good time to buy, but what price are you buying at, right? So real estate is really won. The game of real estate is really won when you purchase the property. So when you're buying that property, are you buying it at a discounted rate, or are you buying it that's too high? And I've kind of played this game the last couple of years. It's always been speculation, like the market's too high, and get out. And so what we've seen is since the last recession, during that time and during the last recession, there was a lot of millionaires and a lot of multimillionaires made from real estate that have come out of that. And so what I would say is we're probably headed into a time of, at least in certain markets of the country, the United States here, that things are going to cool off a little bit. So I can definitely see areas such like commercial real estate, for example. Do you think that businesses are going to rely as heavily upon having actual location in the future?
Probably. No, I personally don't. What I see or what I believe is that, and I think we discussed this a little bit on the last show, I have been focused on working from home since 1994, since I built my first website. That was always my priority. I've never been one of those people that's passionate about going out or being in the office at all. So when you have more and more people and it reduces the company's overhead, because at the end of the day, that's really what they care about. is their overhead, what their expenses are, but it reduces theirs to have less commercial property and still have the same quality of work from their employees.
Absolutely. And that's essential for today's workplace, marketplace of employees. And so when you get these younger generations, like people are craving that, right? They want to have that work from home. You can even offer, less salary to some people because they get to work from home and they're happy. They want to be around their family and friends. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock hits, they can just literally go hang out with their kids instead of commute an hour. So that's a big draw. But back to the real estate side, I mean, for us, it's super interesting. We're always looking to buy. We're always looking to grow on our side, our philosophy. So what we do specifically is we help you get what's called off-market properties. So if you're in the real estate game, a lot of people know, like, hey, do I buy? Do I sell during this time? Well, a lot of people are looking at what's listed on the MLS, right? You're seeing properties that your realtor is sending you.
Right.
Well, there's another way of acquiring properties, and it might be just through a friend. Oh, I heard this person has a property, do a private sale. But we've discovered ways online using digital marketing to bring those opportunities to investors who are able to buy those at 50 to 60 cents on the dollar consistently, regardless if the market's really hot or if the market's really bad.
You can't just stop there, Josh. That was good. I'm taking notes. And he's like, that's it.
Right.
That's what we do. I mean, but there's so much more than that. I mean, specifically, is that just in one city, only in your city, your state, across America, around the globe? Like, who can this benefit and who can utilize it?
It's essentially any market in the United States. Any market with, I would say 500,000 people or more. I mean, if you want to be at really niche, I mean, you can even do less than that. You can dominate your local market. We do this ourselves. So I always say, like, I had this big thing where, if I can't do it myself or like prove that it's successful myself, like I won't sell it. So, I've spent a lot of money, a lot of time figuring this stuff out, and we just kind of jumped into it and figured it out. And we developed a system now, and that system we can kind of hand over to other real estate entrepreneurs, people looking to get into real estate. And it gives you the opportunity to get those leads in, gives you the opportunity to close on those leads and make money, like I said, when you're buying at such a discounted price, because that's where you're going to really make money long-term in real estate. And a lot of people, if you're dependent upon a realtor to feed you properties, or you're looking online, think about how many other people have probably looked at that property, or what price you're going to get that property at, right? Your realtor doesn't want you to buy it at 60% off. I'll tell you that. They want as much money as possible coming to them. Likewise, the seller, they want to sell it for as high as possible. So we've been able to create digital marketing funnels and basically a system that gets people in certain circumstances who are looking to sell their property at a discounted rate, and we're matching those with investors.
Okay. So one of the questions that I have been asked from a couple of people is what to buy. Everyone to a certain extent kind of understands that people are walking away from properties, but the reason that they're walking away from these properties is because, again, they can't afford them, or maybe they got sick, maybe the homeowner, God forbid, passed away from COVID-19. So now this property is available, but there are not many people who know who or how or where to pick up the phone and say, I want to buy that property, or someone who says, I want to sell this property.
Yeah. So what I always tell people, and when I started out, is I thought about cash flow. So cash flow is always king. And why I love multi-unit rentals so much is because if the economy does go down, let's say, COVID aside, that's a whole nother scenario, but let's just say out of COVID, we come out of this COVID and we go into a little slump in the economy. Well, people are going to stop buying new homes. They're going to stop buying high-end homes, but they're not going to stop renting. So what happens is when you don't have these demand for people to buy homes, is they still have to rent somewhere. In a lot of areas of the country, you have a massive housing shortage, right? So I know in my area of the country, we have, I think it's like 500, 600 single family homes listed in our county. And if we moved 10,000 people here right now, they would have to build like they just did this crazy stat. They had to build like, 10,000 more homes to even fit the demand for people coming in.
Mhm.
So in my area, I know that if I own rentals, they're going to get rented. They're going to be solid cash flow regardless of the economy. And the worst case scenario, I just have to lower my rent a little bit to get a qualified tenant in there. So for me, a good long-term strategy where people should buy is multifamily houses. So you're looking at, anywhere from 2, probably up to 10 units when you're starting out. You want to stay in that range. They can be affordable for people who are starting, and you can get creative financing for a lot of these units as well.
Okay, but what if someone who wants to get into real estate but does not want to be a landlord? I mean, because no matter what, under the best of circumstances, we always hope for the best. We hope we get that tenant like you, Josh, who moves in, he pays his bills, he pays the rent, he keeps it nice, he's not having parties. But typically there may be issues, and now this may be another headache for the property owner. What do you recommend?
Absolutely, yes. So if you do not want to swing a hammer, if you do not want to do anything with tenants, you don't
I
like people
don't.
at all.
I don't like people. You see, you learning me. You learning me, Josh.
You definitely want to price, and when you acquire the property, to have a property manager in place. So a property manager, if you're not familiar with that, a property manager is usually a company that will place tenants for you. They'll screen tenants for you. If there's a water leak in the property, they get the call first, right? They take care of the repairs, they take all this stuff. Now, you are going to pay a premium for that service, right? You're going to pay 8 to 10% of your gross rent. So when you're buying the property, it's smart to price that into the acquisition costs, right? So, you're thinking, all right, I'm not going to manage this. I want this to be completely passive. You price that in on the front end. But I always, tell people, whatever investments that you're in, they're never completely passive. So if you think they're completely passive, you're ludicrous, because you have to actually spend time like keeping up with the investment, or, your time is involved. So there's going to be a little bit of time there on your end, but I think for some people, it's worth the lower return to give up money to the property manager to get more of that passive freedom lifestyle that we all crave.
So what made you, so you were able to implement the digital marketing into the real estate because you're working doing the digital marketing. You found to a certain extent the system that works for you in order to get the advertising out, correct?
Yeah. So I actually started out before I even, kind of got really big in the digital marketing game. I started out in the real estate side, just reading books and learning about how people were acquiring these properties. I think it's crazy. It's like, 80 or 90% of millionaires got there through real estate or own real estate. So there's a strong correlation there. So if you're looking to get ahead, especially in the United States because of asset prices and things, owning real estate for a lot of people is the means by which they get to financial security.
The number two is entertainment and real estate. And so for me, it's like I'm more passionate about entertainment than I am about real estate. However, I want to use and utilize entertainment in order to buy real estate.
Right. And you can go vice versa, right? So so I started out and I was just young, and me and my wife were out of college, and we had a ton of student loan debt, and we didn't have any money. And I was like, how do I acquire properties without anything, right? If I just started from scratch. And I think this is a big tragedy that our school and education system doesn't actually teach our young people this. But there are specific programs designed for first-time investors or people out there who are looking to get started that actually help you acquire properties at a very low down payment rate, or they'll let you acquire distressed properties that need fixed up, and they'll loan you the money to actually renovate the property. So if you are, if you're young and you're out there in your 20s or 30s, whatever your first time home purchase is, I always recommend young people, I talk about it all the time when I see them, and I try to convince people, but they don't always listen. But I say, hey, if you think about this from a cash flow perspective, my proposition is this. You buy a property, you live in the property, You can renovate the property, you can fix the property, do whatever you want with the property, but you just have to live in a property for 1 year, and you're probably going to live there for rent free. Would you do that? And so a lot of people go, oh yeah, I'd live in a property for a year if I had to live there for free, right? No rent. Well, that's as good as the program gets, right? So if you're smart about how you acquire these properties and you learn about the programs out there available through FHA or different financing, you can actually make that a reality for yourself. And it was fascinating because my wife and I bought a multi-unit. It was our first house purchase. We lived in it for almost 2 years. I think I paid total, everything costs on the property about $200, $300 a month to live there. And then we moved out of it to our, now home, and we make about $1,000 a month on this property. So the course of living at that property and only paying $200, I used to pay $1,200 for rent for a comparable unit. I was saving $1,000 a month just living in a house, right? That will transform people's financial future, if you think about it. So it's really fascinating. It's a really great investment if you're young, or if you're just looking to get started. I highly recommend you read up on it.
Okay. Well, Josh, again, I'm trying to find the words because I hear you. I really do. But I'm one of those people that kind of feel sometimes that just sounds too good to be true. Everyone is always saying, oh, there's a government program for that. There's a government program for that. But then when you go to try to find first you have to probably find the office or the website. And once you find it, they need everything since the second grade. Your credit score has to be this, and then your deposit has to be that. And I have found from a lot of the programs that the average person may not qualify.
Right. And what I say to that is this is where like mentorship and or getting around people is very important. So when you're faced with obstacles in either business or life in general, you have a couple of choices. You have two choices, basically. You can face the obstacle or you can run away, right? And so many times, when we look at, even like a situation like this, where it's like, all right, I walk into a bank and the first bank says, no way, Jose, right? Like, we ain't lending to you. A lot of people are just going to give up, right? They're just going to, say, oh, I don't qualify, and going on with my life, right? Well, what I would recommend is there's local real estate investing meetup groups in every city around the United States. If you're legitimately interested in this, go to one of their events. It's almost always free. Like, they don't charge people to go to these things, and just start talking to people. The amount of knowledge and wealth and connections that you can make at that meeting will put you far ahead. So there's bankers there. There's people who've done it for years. They're going to give you the insight and advice that otherwise you might learn the hard way if you go ahead and do it yourself. So I always recommend, educating yourselves first, and then leveraging those connections to help you get to where you want to go.
Yes, Josh, that was wonderful, but that didn't answer my question, because are all of those people in the financial real estate networking group going to help me get through this program that you referred to, that I have yet to hear the website address or whatever is?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're interested in it, so here's how the program works. If you are a first-time home buyer in the US, and you don't have to have like crazy great scores, there is a program through the FHA. It's 3.5%. So you can actually buy through an FHA loan up to 4 units at 3.5% down. So, most people use FHA for single family homes. They don't realize you can buy up to 4 units with it. So it's a great way to, acquire properties and get a multi-unit underneath you. There's also an FHA loan program. I think it's called the 203. It's a 203 loan. It's a loan that you can get. You can put 3.5% down on a property. They also will loan you the renovation cost. So if you buy a property, let's say the property is $100,000 and it needs $70,000 in work to make it nice, they will loan you that. When you are completed with the work, you can go back and get it reappraised, and let's say it's worth $250,000, $300,000 at that point. So you have some sweat equity. Those are two of the bigger ones. If you're a veteran, they have veteran programs out there for 0% down. They have, if there's another one through the Is it USDA? It's a rural or agricultural loan, which most people think rural is like
the middle of
like
nowhere.
Montana, right? But
Yes.
it's actually funny because they classify rural, a lot of areas that I live around here, which I would consider suburbia, right, as rural, just because of the area and the classification. So there's a lot of programs out there that are actually, you can access them on the internet, like I said, that are designed for first-time home buyers or people who are looking to acquire properties.
Okay. Again, that all sounds wonderful, sounds great, but I can tell you my weaknesses. I'm not about to join these networking groups. I'm not about to go ask these people none of these questions. Let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask Josh. So is it, you have a book of, does it provide this assistance on your website? Because I really honestly would be afraid to go in it alone. I wouldn't have a clue as to what I was doing.
Yeah, sure. So you can check us out at glanzair.com. That's GLANZAIR.com. We do coaching, consulting, one-on-one mentorships with people. We do a ton of content on our TikTok channel, which is free information, like I said. So we'll post links on there. We'll talk about how we got our properties, we got started in real estate game. You can check us out there. You can also connect with me on Facebook. I'm sure I'm very responsible on Facebook and willing to help.
Yes.
So Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere like that, I see it as a value to other people. So, if you're looking for help in the real estate game, if you're looking to get started, just reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help.
But you have another website. You're like me. I think you have a lot of different websites because you just mentioned the glanzair.com. We came on the show to talk about a completely different website. And then you have conklinmedia.com. So you just have a lot going on.
Right. I'm kind of one of those people that, like, if I'm not constantly trying like new things or like doing something new in the entrepreneurial space, I'll get very bored. So like, the traditional 9 to 5 to me is like being in prison, right? Like I'm being locked in prison. I have to do the same thing for the same company every single day. So the other site we have, it's actually an extension of Glanzair. So Glanzair is our real estate investing company. It's our CRM, it's our software. If you check out 717homebuyers.com, that is our localized site to Lancaster, PA area. So if you were to partner with us in Glanzair, we create you a site very similar to that. You would generate leads for off-market real estate properties. And that's what we sell through. You can look us up on Google. We're verified on there, and we do a lot of business through that website.
Okay, I'm learning. I'm taking notes. Right now, they're mental notes, but I'm learning because you said you set up the second website through Glanzair, but it's for a specific location. But you can, like, I'm interested in properties in the Southern California, Long Beach area, just to narrow it down. Is this something that would be able to benefit me?
Absolutely. So we only work with one partner per market, and that's normally a county geographical area.
Okay.
Sometimes that'll vary, based on where you live. And so we're pretty exclusive who we work with because we want to make sure we're only giving them the leads that come in. You get a website that we have developed. We know it converts really well. You get a marketing funnel campaign, which can be Facebook, it can be Google Ads, but we're essentially looking for distressed sellers. And then all that you have to do on your side is simply, when a lead comes in and it alerts you on your phone and alerts you via email, is you pick up the phone and you talk to the sellers. So we're making it super easy for people who want to get involved in the real estate game. Maybe you're just looking to buy one property, but this is more designed for people who are, buying multiple properties or big quantity of properties at a time.
I want to buy a city. I just want to buy the entire city. This is my city.
Call
now.
The mayor, right? Call the mayor. Get him on the phone.
Like I own this now. But yeah.
But yeah, we work with people, and the cool part is, if you're not able to buy the property, there is what's called wholesaling in the real estate game. So I don't know, are you familiar with wholesaling at all?
I'm not familiar with the real estate game at all. That's what I'm trying to learn.
So this is a little known thing that not a ton of people, it's getting more popular, but if I can find people who want to buy their house for a certain
Mhm.
price,
Mhm.
I can sign a contract with them.
Mhm.
And a lot of contracts in a lot of places, you can actually assign that contract.
Mhm.
So I can say, hey, I want to buy your house for $100,000,
Mhm.
and the seller agrees. And if I can go find a buyer who wants to buy it for more money,
Mhm.
I can assign the buyer that contract. So a lot of people who are getting started in the real estate game, they actually wholesale.
Mhm.
And they're basically like sitting in between the buyer and the seller, and they're
Mhm.
connecting them, and they're making a profit in the middle.
Mhm.
So if I don't have a ton of money to go buy real estate property, or maybe I just don't want to buy right now, you can make a lot of money in between, because if you find sellers and negotiate a contract at 100,000, you can go sell that property for 150. You pocket the difference. So it's a really good industry to be in right now, especially with COVID going on, because a lot of people are looking to sell their house. They're financially not stable. They might be wanting to get out of their property. So if you're in the wholesaling game right now, it's a huge opportunity for you to get a lot of contracts and move a lot of properties.
Okay, so how do you do that? Like this, do you have to go to school for 6 months,
No,
or
no,
how
no.
many
I would-
certificates do you have to have? Like,
you
how
don't
do
have
I
to,
do that?
yeah, you actually don't have anything. So you don't have to be a realtor,
Mhm.
which is funny. So in a lot of states, it's actually legal for realtors to do this, which is crazy.
Okay.
So you have to basically exist,
Mhm.
and you
That's me. I
have to
got
be
that.
willing to call people on the phone.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, we have a system. So we set you up. We have a
Mhm.
website. We get leads going to that website. The leads come in. You call
Mhm.
the seller. You talk to them about their property. You talk to them about their life situation, and then you negotiate the price for the property.
Mhm.
And then we go find a buyer for that property.
Mhm.
So a lot of people, you live in a big area, Southern California. I'm sure there's big people out there that are buying properties left and right. So
Mhm.
you just want to find those people. You can network for those people. You can do it online. You can do it on Craigslist. You can do it on Facebook
Mhm.
Marketplace.
Mhm.
But you go find a buyer, you sign the contract, and then you just make money in between. It's that simple.
It sounds simple, but it also sounds too good to be true. I'm telling you, because I'm over here. See, the last thing you just said, I was tuned out. I was already seeing my plan to go be a wholesaler and get some more property. So I think I'm interested in doing something like that. What would it cost to get one of your? Oh, maybe you don't want to discuss price. Maybe
No,
that's
that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's on our website. So I mean, yeah.
okay. Some people are sensitive about price because I'm
Yeah.
a shopper. I'm like, oh, I want that. I want to buy it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to discuss price.
Yeah, we can always talk price. I mean, I put it on our website. We charge the same price for everybody. I think that's
Mhm.
fair.
Mhm.
So for our CRM, our website, the
Mhm.
CRM backend, it's $150 a month.
Mhm.
That's completely set up for you. So it's $150 a month to have that.
Mhm.
On the CRM backend, once the lead comes in, you have to call, but we also have automated email sequences.
Mhm.
So you don't have to follow up manually, which is great time saver. We
Mhm.
also have a digital contract option on there where you can generate the contract and send it. Think, a hello sign or DocuSign. If you ever use
Mhm.
that,
Yes.
you can send it while you're on the call with the person.
Mhm.
So, how many times have you called someone and they're like, oh, I want to do this, Sharifah. Like, I'm all excited. I'm all
Mhm.
excited. And then like a week later, you call them back up and they're like, no, I don't want to do it. They give you all the excuses why they don't want to do it now.
Right.
Well, if you're on the phone with a person and it serves up in their inbox and they're serious, they're going to sign it, right?
Right.
So we have that option on the back end. We have, we're working on some SMS, some texting options,
Mhm.
automated follow up on the back end. So it's really a system to help you automate this business.
Mhm.
And then that's $150 a month. And then for our full package, which includes, Google AdWords, SEO stuff on the website and the website, it's $1,500 a month.
Mhm.
So it is an investment. It's not cheap, but we
Mhm.
spend a lot of money to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and we understand that if you get one deal out of it, it's going to pay for itself multiple times over.
Okay. Same. Now I'm ready to push the go button, the green light right now. But this is my question, Josh.
Yeah.
What is your training like? What kind of videos do you offer? How, because you say I would have to speak, this is for me, for instance, if I wanted to do this, but I would have to speak to the seller. Honestly, I would have absolutely no idea what to say to a seller. I wouldn't know if it would start with a virtual walkthrough, if it would start with the contract. I don't know what that looks like. Do you provide training or videos or FAQ that tells you when the seller says this is your response? Because I'm a very like black and white. Tell me how to do it. I can sell anything. I've set sales goals, and I love to sell. I love the challenge, and I don't like selling penny gum. I like making sales where it changes lives.
Right. Yeah. So that's a big challenge that a lot of people come to us. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not good on the phone, or I don't know what to say. I don't know this industry. I don't want to sound like I'm educated about it. So when you come on board with us, I actually have my top, I don't call him a sales guy, I call him acquisition guy. My top acquisitions guy locally do an onboarding call with you and walk you through a lot of the kind of just getting started phases, such as like, how do I use this? What do I say? How do I act on the phone? What's the tone on the phone?
Mhm.
We also talk about and do additional training on scripts. So we have proven scripts that we have on our side that we give to you that kind of walk you through, what do you say to the seller in the first place, how to negotiate price, how to use, certain tactics to talk them through and to get them to come down on price, things like that we know work for us. And you can, of course, take that and tweak that as you want, because it's not one size fits all. But this is a good success formula for you so that, you can take 80-90% of it, plug it in, and you can just go and talk to people. That's our goal. We just want to get you as the business owner talking to sellers and selling. That's it.
Mm. That's interesting though, being a wholesaler. So then and like you said, it doesn't require a real estate license in order to be a wholesaler. To a certain extent, it seems more like introductions, like making referrals, introducing to people. If you are a seller, this is what I have, this is what I'm selling, this is what I'm offering. And then on the other hand, because people always ask me, that's like the thing, ask Sharifah, ask Sharifah, ask Sharifah, she'll know. So connecting the seller with the buyer, keeping them out in the middle. That's very interesting. And what your website does gives you, if I'm understanding it correctly, a platform to be able to list the properties or have the properties that are available, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we create the platform for your business. We give you basically the site to generate the leads, to get you the presence in the market to be able to make those sales. That's essentially what we do. And we're now in about 6 markets. We haven't we're in beta mode per se, but we're about 6 markets. We do it ourselves. It's a very profitable business. And this is a good opportunity, I think, for people out there, especially given the COVID world that we live in now, to kind of make some money, maybe on the side to start out. And then as you grow the business, create a freedom business where you can work from home, you can make a lot of money, and you can choose when you want to work. Right. So that's the key there. When in this business, I found is I can choose when I want to work. There's a lot of other businesses where, though you own the business, you have to work in it every single day. Right.
Yes, but one of the things that you mentioned, again, back to the whole COVID, what about, it just seems like a minor thing, but are people showing the properties virtually?
Yes, we are. So we were quick to jump on Zoom with people, and it was fascinating because realtors in Pennsylvania now is still one of the only, I think it's the only state where real estate is non-essential.
Oh, wow.
So we're like in this weird, testing ground here.
What if you need to move? I never understand how they classify essential, non-essential. It's like, what if I have to go or I'm leaving? Okay, I'm sorry, I went off on another tangent. Back.
No, it's a good point. I mean, you can close on a property, so the title companies are open. So we've been able to close on stuff, but agents physically can't show you a property in person.
Right.
So where we live and in a bunch of other markets, people were very open to doing a Zoom, a virtual tour of the property. And when my goal on my side is, I'm solving a solution for the seller, right? They're usually in, pre-foreclosure, or they want to move, or their house just needs a lot of work and they don't want to do it. Maybe they don't trust realtors. There's a plethora of reasons. But I'm buying the property as is, right? So I understand there's going to be a lot of issues with it.
Mhm.
And the investors are buying it as is. So they understand that.
Mhm.
So my goal is to just verify via Zoom,
Mhm.
just like I was there in person and walking through, and
Mhm.
get that property under contract.
Mhm.
And so we've actually seen it be faster this way
Mhm.
because, as I said earlier, hey, you want to jump on a Zoom call? Yeah, sure. Zoom call, digital contract, that's signed versus, hey, let's meet up next Tuesday. I go to the property, I walk through the property, then I give them a paper contract, then they have to sign the paper contract, and they have to come back. So we're able to be more efficient and faster with the digital side than we ever were when we were doing it with paper.
Okay, Josh, again, I'm gonna show you my naivety, being naive, the art of being naive. But you keep kind of using interchangeably buyer and investor. And so I'm trying to make sure, is this the same person? Is this one and the same? Because I guess when I hear investor, I feel like there's a investor group or a pool that comes in and buys these different properties that the seller is interested in selling. Or is it one of those where here's the property the seller has, and then you just go out and find the buyer?
It's kind of one and the same. So an investor can be, the buyer. So there are, there's companies that will buy out there. There are, when you get bigger, they're called REITs. It's probably what you're referring to. So real estate investment trust.
Mhm.
Um, and then sometimes it's just individuals, house flippers. I'm sure you know people who flip houses.
Yeah.
And it really depends. So, we operate with about 300, 400 local buyers in our area that we know buy in our area.
Mhm.
But when we go outside of our area, we have to go find buyers in that area. And
Mhm.
it really differs on the clientele, the area, who's buying, it's just going to differ market to market.
Mhm.
Um, so you can find an individual, or you might be dealing with a big company.
Mhm.
Either way, if they come to the table and they want to buy the property, it's to
Mhm.
your benefit.
Okay, so this is getting interesting. I love these shows because it's not what I expected. And again, I thought we were going to talk about the digital marketing because after the last show, when you were on the roundtable, we talked a little bit and I was like, oh, I'm very impressed. And I saw in your bio when you sent it over about the real estate. But again, I felt that there would be still some focus on digital marketing. Um, But the part that you mentioned about being the wholesaler, the person in the middle, is that a set fee, a set percentage, or if I say, you know what, I want to throw $200,000 on the top, or are there certain guidelines, or maybe does the system automatically calculate it for you?
Nope, it's up to you. So if you have the property at 100,000 and you can sell it for $1 million, everything becomes yours, right?
You're
So
talking my language now.
so it's really up to you. There's no cap on it. There's no, percentage magical formula. There's a way of calculating how to give good offers to the seller,
Mhm.
where you should be at. And once you kind of figure out that formula, or, figure out where you're at with that, you'll know, roughly where you think how much you're going to make. But I would say, a lot of wholesalers, depending on your market, in Southern California where you're at,
Mhm.
you're probably looking at, a minimum, you're probably not going to move for less than 10 grand.
Mhm.
And most of your deals might be in that $10,000 to $20,000 range.
Mhm.
So just based on your market. So it really depends, where you're at, how hungry you are for the money, how
Mhm.
low you're willing to go, but it's really set by selling ability and what your contract's at.
Yeah, but Los Angeles is the #2 DMA in America. When you say 10 to 20,000, that may be somewhere else in the nation. I mean, we are known for just
Yep.
going up, tacking on numbers. What some places would sell for one place, we're like, you know what? I think there's a $50,000 margin on this property.
I think there's two more zeros in the end. Yeah, I know. So I know people. So there are people, I guarantee you there are people right now in LA where you're at that are wholesaling deals and they're making 6 figures per deal. I guarantee that.
Okay, but do they have the LA already locked down though?
So not with us. So we don't
Okay,
have any
that's what
partners
I'm
in LA.
asking.
Yeah, we don't have any partners in LA right now.
Mhm.
Like I said, we're in 6 markets, major DMAs across the
Mhm.
United States right now.
Mhm.
We're looking to be in every single DMA.
Mhm.
So if you're interested, I'm always available.
I'm interested. We definitely are going to have to talk. Now we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I like to do at the end of every show is just allow our guest or my guest to speak directly to the audience and let them know what you want them to take away from your interview.
Perfect. So if you are looking to get started in the real estate game, or maybe you're young, or maybe you don't really know what you want to do with your life, I highly advise you to start looking at wholesaling. I highly advise you to start looking at investing in real estate. We have a platform that can help you do that.
Mhm.
We can help you generate leads. We can help you get started. We've
Mhm.
learned from a lot of mistakes and a lot of money spent what not to do.
Mhm.
So when we talk about mentorship, we talk about companies to work with. We are in that game. We spend our money in that real estate world,
Mhm.
and so we would help you scale your business. So if you're looking to get started, check us out at Glanz Air. That's GLANZAIR.com, and we'll get talking.
I want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who's watching it in the archives. Josh is amazing. I mean, he's not even going to tell you, but he helped me so much offline between the shows. If you knew how amazing he was, I'm telling you. So check out his offer. Check out all 59 of his websites, especially the glanzair.com website. And Conklin Media will throw that in there as well, conklinmedia.com. If you are interested in being a guest, visit the website at asksharifa.com. Until tomorrow, everyone have a blessed day. Bye.